you didn't think TV ads worked anymore. Do you think any advertising worked, or is
No,
it all
I
social
just
media?
said there's so much ads, it doesn't have the same effect, perhaps. Look, advertising works, but in a place like New Hampshire, where you have a relatively small universe of voters in a crowded field, voter contact is hugely important. So going door to door, making the phone calls, engaging using the new technologies is an essential part of an effective campaign here.
Governor,
I have a question. So, on President Obama's executive actions, how do background checks take away the rights of law-abiding citizens to get guns?
He doesn't have the right to do it.
But
Doesn't
you
have
said
the
that
right.
they take away the rights. So how do they take away rights?
Well, if someone is selling a gun out of their collection, a one-off gun, they're not a dealer, which would require a license and already requires that. Why are you're taking that person's right away? I mean, it doesn't make sense to add burdens on people where the problem isn't, you're not solving whatever problem he's trying to solve. That's the point. And plus, he's doing it without the executive authority to do it. And every time he does that, look, heads explode and people get very angry. I do too. I just think that the Constitution is worth protecting. There'll be a lawsuit, and it'll be settled, and he'll lose, and he'll be gone already. And this is not the way to engage. Here's a suggestion for the president. Maybe engage Congress as it relates to mental health challenges, which he considers, and apparently in his executive order he dealt with that as well. Well, there's enough Republicans and Democrats in the House and the Senate that believe that that's an issue where the Congress should act. Why not engage with them on the things where there's a consensus to do it, rather than use authority he doesn't to disrespect them?
What's
Governor,
specifically are you going to do to
The
defeat
next president of the
ISIS?
United States is going to have to deal with the Paris Climate Accord. What would you do to implement or push back on that?
I'm not. I don't have the details of what the president's committed to. He doesn't have the authority to do it. If he did, he would once again create a treaty, which would be enforceable. So I'm not. That's not really on my list of things that I fret about.
How about climate change?
Climate change in general is something that I think we all should be concerned about. The climate is changing. The good news is that our carbon footprint has actually been reduced by 10% in the last decade. It's flat in the last 25 years, even though we have an increasing population. We should be proud of that. And there are other things that we can do as it relates to conservation and continued use of natural gas and other things like that would help in this regard. And ultimately, there will be renewables that will be more dominant than they are today. But to raise prices, to lose jobs, to deindustrialize the country, to create less economic activity, I don't think is the solution. And so where I diverge from the president's approach is most of his approach is going to create higher costs on consumers and higher costs on businesses, and I don't think we need to do that.
What's
Did you ask
Governor?
Noel her permission to discuss those details today, and is it difficult for you to talk about that publicly?
I mean, I told her I was going to do it, and I asked her if it was okay, and I knew she was going to say yes because we've talked about it, not in an overt way, but it just dawned on me that this event was likely to be a place where I was to talk about this, and it's not easy. No, I mean, we went through hell. Not easy at all, but I'm proud of her. I really am.
What specifically are you going to do to defeat ISIS
What am I going to do?
if you're
Right
elected
now?
president?
Oh, okay, thanks. Arm the Kurds, train, embed our warfighters with the Iraqi military, re-engage with the Sunni forces that now are beginning to get involved in this effort, and to reinvigorate the Sunni efforts that led to a successful surge that created a stable, fragile but stable Iraq. That all of those elements in Iraq are important. Get the lawyers off the warfighters. Eliminate these memorandums that require a layer of approval for sorties for ordinances to be dropped. That's improved too, but it's still at a rate that is extraordinarily high. I think half of the sorties go back to base. Create a no-fly zone in Syria, safe zones to build safety for refugees, and equally important, if not more important, build a Sunni-led Syrian force with international support. It's going to take time because right now we see what's happening in Saudi Arabia, where they've lost confidence the United States security umbrella is real, and they're taking action on their own, and we see this Shia-Sunni fracture that is serious. It's been long-standing, but it's now been taken to a new level. It will require patience for us to build the kind of international support we have if we have a president that is giving the perception he's changing sides. And this is not just a question of dealing with ISIS, it's also a question of dealing with radical Shia forces that are supporting Assad. So it's a comprehensive strategy that will require American leadership for sure.
Governor Donald Trump.
Governor Donald Trump, he is no governor. Do not insult the profession that I consider to be one of the highlights of my adult life.
Governor, Donald Trump. Donald Trump today questioned Ted Cruz's legal eligibility to be president. Do you think that Ted Cruz is a natural-born citizen who's eligible for the presidency?
Yeah, I do.
Governor, on the...
I just, look. Yes.
Last one.
Governor, your campaign explained yesterday about the
Yeah, let's get that out of the way.
story. But what about the part about being Statesman of the Year? Like, that's still sort of a question. Like, where did that come from exactly?
I don't know. I thought I just read it. I was the keynote speaker at the annual conference where I was rated A+, and my policies I think were deserving of that, and it was confirmed by Marion Hammer, who was the chairman at the time of the NRA, and she also is the leader in Florida. And it was based on the fact that we advanced the cause of Second Amendment rights in our state across the board. And people look to a model for how to do this in the right way, where you lower violence when people use guns and you respect law-abiding citizens. They look to Florida. So I got it wrong as it related to Heston giving me the gun, but I met him there. They showed me the gun when he was there. You know, I don't think that changes anything about the fact that I am on that stage. I am the most pro-Second Amendment person running for president because I did it. I didn't talk about it.